Hey, welcome to Real Talk episode 206. I'm Todd. This is AJ, and we're back.
Mind blown. Why? Because we're back.
It's been a very, very long time. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I'm at a loss.
Me too.
In what to say. The last time, I should wait on this. Some of you, considering it's been so long, may be new to Real Talk and asking yourself, what is this? What is this train wreck? We'll tell you. What's Real Talk? Real Talk's an opportunity to have a talk, a real talk about God, life, the Bible, and everything in between. Somewhere in the description of this video and or in the link, somewhere, you will see a link or a description of a link, www.theremnant.life/real-talk. That real, of course, is REAL. If you click that, go all the way down to the bottom of the page, there'll be a form fillable box. You can tippity-tap your question or comment, and it'll go directly into our database instantaneously and anonymously. Couldn't find it if we tried. And the goal there is to give an opportunity and a platform to discuss questions that you may have about God, life, the Bible, or anything in between from a Christian mindset or worldview. Maybe you're just a believer that you're uncomfortable asking certain questions. Maybe you don't have anyone in your life to ask them, or maybe you're just someone who's curious and want a place that you can ask questions. Well, there you go.
It's true, man. If you go through life without any questions, what are you doing? So here we are. That's what we're here for.
Can I just be honest with you right now, genuinely? This feels like I've never done it before.
Dude,
No, I'm being serious.
Oh yeah,
I don't know where to look anymore. Nothing feels real. At one point when I used to do this, I would look and I would see you people as I'm looking at you, those that are watching the video. If you're on the podcast, this doesn't matter.
Nope, not at all.
But now I was never aware that we were being recorded.
Yeah, it's
now,
weird now.
And because we've done it so many times, we'd had over 200 episodes.
Yeah, you get used to it.
And now I'm not at all.
Do you find yourself looking at their big red light?
No, I find myself looking there, but instead of envisioning people, I'm just looking at, I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest with you. How do I sound by the way in your headphones?
You sound good.
All right, good.
You sound really good.
So that's the gist of it, guys.
Guys sound incredible if you put yours on, because those are incredible headphones.
Oh, thank you. They're Louisiana hot sauces, right?
They are, and they are unbelievable.
Listen, before we go on, this is important. We've already lost new people. Stick around. We'll see what happens. There's another guy that's joined us. Originally, we didn't think it was going to be possible. We pulled some strings, paid big bucks.
He's a hard guy to get a hold of.
See, we can't even talk anymore. You know him. You love him. If you don't, you soon will.
Yes.
Production guy Blake. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Yeah. Forgot about the sound thing. That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Captain Share has a lot of perks back here, fellas.
It's true.
Nice,
We
Captain.
give him a lot of power back there. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. So listen, if you're new, you aren't here anymore. But if you're not, and you're one of our old regulars, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to catch you up on, and a lot for us to answer for.
Oh yeah.
Frankly, and because we looked, and it has been well over a year, correct? Since
a year and a month, I think, right?
Been a year and a month since we did our last
Yeah.
show. Ironically, I want you to understand that the title of our last show was either Back to the Future or We're Back.
I think it's Back to the Future.
And the implication was, hey, we're here every week, and we never came back.
Never mind. I about said a name that I should have said.
That's best.
I did good.
So we'll talk about that in a second, okay? Because there's some valid reasons. We'll kind of catch you up on our lives, and even some of those people in the church that supports this show.
Yeah.
They know us, but do they? Do they really?
No.
Do they know what's going on in our hearts and our lives?
You have no idea.
Oh, they have a little bit of an idea, but maybe they don't know why this happened. So we'll talk about all that, see where this leads us. But before we do that, we need to give a special thanks, guys.
Oh yes.
And the thanks is to the real ones. What's the real ones? Well, that's our Real Talk fan club, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
Who supported this show, this nonprofit, right? This ministry, if you will, if you don't like that word. And just a show. But they supported it financially, and there were kind of different tiers. And I know that our staff behind the scenes kind of kept up on that for a long time. And they got some really cool gifts, like legitimately
It's cool gear.
gear. Yeah, I was jealous of some of them.
Me too.
And
I got
then
none of it.
I think over the last couple of months, we sort of trailed off on that because we told them we wanted to come back and sort of refresh this, right?
Yeah,
And-
man.
And get everyone, get it going again and explain to you guys because you deserve it. But
Definitely.
we looked back and we do want to give a big shout out to a few people. So Austin D, we'll say just D. Thank you
Austin
so
D.
much, brother. We love you. We appreciate you. Lindsay K, thank you so much for your support. Norman, do we really need to say his last name?
Storm and Norman.
Yeah, Norman J. Thank you so much. Big fan, and also a guy that in all honesty was pushing us to get back.
He was, yes, consistently for a long time.
Yeah. Caleb C., we love you so much, brother. It's been a long time, but he's been just diligently supporting the show.
Oh, man.
We thank you. Truly, truly thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Krista, of course.
Yes. Thank you, Krista.
And Krista B. And then Greg B.
Greg B.
Thank you. Triple B.
Triple.
Love you guys. I hope you know that we truly, truly appreciate everything you did for us in this show. And yeah, honestly, that's part of why we're back.
Yeah, man.
So there were in the last year, those were the regular, real talk.
Real ones.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Sierra too. She was out there too.
Definitely.
while,
Yes.
so.
Big listener.
Anyway, that was a lot of business stuff. So that's where we're at. And now it says on our show notes here
Yes.
that we are to catch up on our lives.
Yes. And I imagine it's been a year and a month. Probably a lot to catch up on. Or maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Who knows if we can ever even do this show anymore? Because yeah, it definitely feels different.
Listen, man, when you're away from something for so long, it's kind of like what we talk about even with courage. It's a muscle, man. You get used to it, you strengthen it, and then you don't, and now it's a little weaker.
You dropped a little wisdom nugget on us. There, huh?
Hey.
Nobody expected that. Anyway, I've talked plenty, so I think it's your turn, man. So I don't know how we want to approach this. So why? I guess we can start with maybe like why the show tailed off. And I want everyone to understand this show in case you're new. We have show notes, but the show notes just tell us they have the question bank, as we call it.
Yep.
We put those anonymous questions on for us to answer so we don't forget. But also, it there's nothing here. It just tells us this. So like it literally says catch up on lives.
That's right.
So the reason I'm saying that is when we talk about this, we try to keep the show organic, like it's us just chilling, hanging out together at a table and really having this discussion. So this isn't going to be polished because we haven't even really talked about how this happened.
No.
So you're about to join all three of us here as we kind of discuss for the first time, maybe ever, why, because I don't think we planned on it certainly being this long.
Definitely not. No.
And it just happened. So, if you're new, to catch up with you, we've been doing this show since, a long time. There's over 200 episodes of this podcast. And then on top of that, almost every week, we also did a live show,
yes.
particularly on Facebook, which at one point we were gaining steam.
We were, man.
And we did a lot of crazy things on that. So when you add that up, my point is that's 200 episodes. You could divide that by weeks if you want.
Yeah.
That's like 4 years, right? I mean, I'm not, that's not crazy here. Pretty
No,
close.
definitely not.
And then you add in the live shows, and it's really like doubling that in a way. And the only reason I say that is this was part of our normal life, part of our routine, a part of our schedule, all of us, for a long, long time. So for us to just stop doing it, even honestly, I don't know about you, but looking back, it's kind of surreal that it went this long because it was such a part of our lives for so long, and part of the church. The church supports this show. A lot of what there was a lot of fruit from it.
Yeah, man. And even the origins of how this whole thing started, it's really cool. I know you started it as a sermon series of asking real, questions in real time from the congregation.
Yeah.
That was a really cool thing. And then it just eventually kind of, it evolved into this, and it's pretty cool. But, yeah, man, I definitely didn't expect it to be on pause because when you really think about it, we've been on pause for realistically, we probably would be considered being on pause for longer than a year and a month because we did one episode.
It's true.
So
And it had been like 9 months, I think, before that.
Exactly. So really, we're probably looking at close to about 2 years.
It's almost like it's starting over in the world of social media.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty crazy. So it's like you said, just kind of hitting the refresh button. But yeah, man. When I think back, we were definitely doing this before 2020. So
Oh yeah. So probably 18, 19.
I think so.
Now we didn't do it regularly. The show kind of grew.
Yes.
Because I think we actually did live first.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we
Real
did
Talk Live,
Real
which
Talk Live
you can still
first.
find episodes of that on the church's Facebook page. Maybe we'll put a link in there.
Oh, for sure. Yep. Actually, we're trying to get all that downloaded before it's gone.
Oh yeah, they're gonna take it off.
That's
I forgot
right.
about that.
Yep. So that's been something we've been doing.
Yeah, have you been doing that?
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
content.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Facebook is taking down all the live videos. So if you have live videos on there, at one point you want to take them off. Like you want to download those because they're getting rid of them.
Yep. It's like anything past 30 days old or something
Yeah.
crazy. It's weird.
So anyway, yeah, I don't really know, man. I think part of it, the reason I guess we say that is I don't know if burnout was part of it, but I think we put a lot of time and energy in this show. We spent a lot of time together, still do, but a lot of time together professionally and personally. And then we just saw a lot of changes in our life, and then a lot of roles changing.
Yeah.
That just made it, honestly, and this is true, as far as the last year, a lot of it was scheduling.
It's true, man.
Because our jobs just had different schedules.
It's true. It was hard to find a time to actually just kind of dedicate it and actually have and put a good foot forward to do it. I know for me that's a big one. Like you said, I think for me a lot of it had to do with what you said, change of role, and then job schedules. And just going from one thing to another. Yeah, man. So it was tough to get back here. I'm really glad we're back, but I do agree, man. I think if you would have asked me, maybe like a year ago or so, if you would if this was about burnout, I might have said yes. But I think that like you said, we were around each other so much personally and professionally, and that kind of I think that kind of wore on things at
We
times.
hated each other. No,
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. No.
We made a joke right before we came on about the 205 because this is 206.
Yeah.
So 204 and 205 are significantly different, which
Vibes,
is so funny.
yeah. Well, and that's another thing too. Just we run under a lot of stress, and I'm not making excuses, but I do think
It's true.
at the end of the day, we might talk a little bit about some of this as we kind of catch up on what we've been up to, but
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those things that the longer it went, the easier it became to not do it,
Yeah, it's true.
right? Not because it wasn't important to us, because we talk about it. We probably talk about it once a month.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it gets brought up.
So, I mean, even among us.
Oh, yeah.
I miss doing the show. There's a lot of cool stuff that came of it. I learned a lot, but we're back. And, one of the things we want to do is we wanted to do this show pretty much to look similar to what we've always done, but we have dreams to make it a little different moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
We want to interview different people when we bring people in here to have discussions. And really talk about those kinds of questions. Some will be about just people with crazy stories, and some will be, testimonies, and some might be people who have seen God move in their life, and some might be people who don't necessarily believe, but are open to having
Absolutely.
that discussion. So that's our goal. We'll see what happens. We're going to commit to doing this and see where it goes, and if there's still an audience for this, and you guys still want this, and we want to serve. We really do. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely, dude, for sure. I'm excited, man. It's it was such a big part of life, and for it to go away, it feels really, like you said, it kind of feels weird to be back. But I'm also just super appreciative.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Especially everybody. We listed you guys earlier. Everyone that kind of stuck with us, even though there was literally nothing. That's pretty cool, man. So sometimes it reminds me of back when I was in a band playing shows. They used to say, listen, man, it doesn't matter if you're playing in front of 2 people or 300, you give them the same energy. So,
It's good.
even if it's just for this one episode, I don't know, man, we don't know what's going to happen. I hope you guys love it, but I want to give you guys the best, whether, it's for 2 listeners or whoever. So,
Well, I mean, I think, Lord willing, right? I think we're at least committing for a few months of this.
definitely, which I'm excited about.
to get things going. And even live, we're looking at bringing live back,
Oh, yeah.
which is a completely different vibe because it's just pure wild craziness all the time.
It's true. It's chaos.
So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at, what we're doing. But now we'll catch you up on our lives and
Yeah, man.
go from there. So, AJ, how's life been?
A lot's happened in a year and a month. So I made myself a little bit of a list here of things
Nice.
that have happened in
Wow.
my life. So, yep, I said it's been a long year or so since last filmed. I worked from home for a little bit and about lost my mind.
So we're reading this literally. All right.
Yep. So I sold music equipment from home. That was interesting. I thought I was gonna love it, which I kind of did for a minute. And
You're
then
good at it.
And then I about went crazy sitting in the same place for 9 hours a day. So literally had a breakdown one time. So that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
did I just lose everything? Okay, no, I didn't. I thought I did. Okay, this is a good one. I lost 15 pounds and then gained 25. so so I am currently the most I've ever weighed in my life. I wish you had headphones on.
I heard it.
Oh,
I
you
can
heard
hear
it?
my
Okay,
headphones right
good.
there.
Oh my gosh. So I'll start with the first half. So I lost 15 pounds. For those of you who do not know who I am, I had the worst diet known to man. I eat fast food. This is another crazy stat. I'm just gonna hit you with it. Since I've been an adult, living on my own since 20 years old, this is not an exaggeration. I think I've probably eaten 95% of fast food since being 20 years old to now. That's not an exaggeration.
What do you mean? You mean 95% of your diet has been fast
Yes,
food?
for 10 years. So, with that being said, all I did was count calories for about
one
3
time.
months,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I lost 15 pounds. And then as soon as I stopped, I became a ravaging rhino, and I gained 25.
good word.
So, so now I'm about 265 right now, and so that's fun.
Told them the specifics, man.
Yeah, man.
You know what's
that's where
funny
I'm
is the
at.
people that don't see us on the podcast, like they're envisioning you completely different than you look like.
That's funny. Yeah, they gotta try to okay, what's this guy look like at like 240 now? Since he said 265, double chin.
It's ridiculous. Anyway,
I've always had one, but let's see. I was in a long-term relationship for about 3 years, and then we broke up for a year and a half, and now we're back together. So I don't remember if that was something that had been back when we did our last episode. I don't think it was.
certainly didn't discuss it.
Yeah. So
You never discussed any of that.
yeah, not really.
No, you never told him. I
Yep.
knew.
So
Like production guy.
because I knew.
I want you to understand that the only thing you've spent time on is the diet. Everything else has been read on a list. And I'm good with it. I'm just letting you know.
So yes, that was interesting. So we were together for about
I think she'll watch
We
this.
were apart from a year and a half, and then we've been back together for about 6 months now. And so we've been kind of connected, I guess, for a long time. Now that I think about it, it's really weird. I turned 30. That's another thing. So I turned 30 years old from the last time we filmed. If anybody knows me at all, you know that's terrifying for me, but also kind of weird because I didn't think I was going to make it till I was 30 years old. So here I am. I'm 30. Let's see. I'll say this. Right now, I would say I probably have the strongest relationship I've had with Jesus in the last 2 years. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. You know, for a long time, I just wasn't really taking it as seriously as I used to. You know, I think you know the truth. You know, you get in church and it becomes normal, and then you just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, or maybe at least for me in my journey, you know, you get frustrated with things, or you get frustrated with some people, or whatever it is, man. And then you just kind of like you lose faith a little bit. Like you just, I wasn't praying, I wasn't really reading, and that's tough, dude. So like, it's cool now because I can say like, with confidence that like I've been in the Bible for about 46 days straight, and it's legitimately changed. I feel like who I am. Even just outwardly for people. Like I'm wanting to serve more. I'm wanting to like be the joyful AJ I know I can be. So, yeah, man, that's just kind of a quick rundown. It's kind
I'll
of
tell
hard.
you what, man, that sounds like something that we should get funky about and celebrate.
Christ.
Nice. No, that is awesome.
Yes, dude. So yeah, man.
And really
I'm-
transparent of you to share, man.
Well, thank you. And that's real talk. So yeah, man, I don't know. I'm really excited, and there's been so much. I'm sure we could try to catch you guys up for other listeners who maybe not be or not as plugged into our church. We've had so much going on lately, and it's got me really jazzed up. I almost thought you were gonna hit a button. I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, man, because we had a thing that we called Cast the Net. We did it. Was that yesterday? Yeah, that was yesterday, right? So that was really cool to just have vision of what our church is doing this upcoming year. And yeah, man, Real Talk was part of that. And so I don't know, man. I feel like I'm kind of a part of the mission again. I kind of feel like for a while there I wasn't, even though maybe I was. I probably was. It just didn't feel that way. So yeah, man, I'm just excited to be back on mission with you guys and just serving Jesus, man. It's what I love the most. I've always said, so much of my life I've only loved like a couple things in my life. That was sports because I grew up around it, professional wrestling. And then I loved music. I fell in love with wanting to be in a band, and that went away. And there was nothing really, And then once I got saved, dude, that's because it was Jesus, the gospel. Like nothing's ever made me feel more alive than the gospel in Christ. So it's good to be back.
It's awesome, man. Appreciate that for real.
Yes.
Yeah, and like it's interesting. I think we've obviously been in your life, thankful for that. But it's interesting to hear you put it, kind of encapsulate it all, it's a different way. Like to even hear you say like I'm the best I've been with Jesus in a while, and I kind of didn't take it seriously or whatever you said. When you're on the outside, you don't really notice that. I wouldn't have thought you'd say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
man.
I appreciate you sharing that.
For sure. And I think, that's to encourage anybody else out there, whether you're watching this, listening to this, and whether you're part of a church or not, like if you're in a weird stage in your faith where you feel like you're kind of like fading away from that, man, I can tell you right now, like all you have to do is just make the choice to recommit and like actually like go for it. And before you know it, like it's true, like I can't, one thing that I still feel like I don't really I take for granted a lot is the fact that it says like the word of God is our literal food for like our spiritual food.
Yep.
And like for a long time I was literally starving for a long time because I wasn't doing that. I wasn't reading. I wasn't feeding that spiritual part of me that needed that. So it's pretty cool, man. I'm just really thankful that, first off, God never left me. And he never gave up on me. And if anything, he's just loved me the same all the way through. And now I'm back closer to him. And it reminds me of what you said a lot in your sermons in the past a lot. It was like, listen, like God never like pulls away from you. You pull away from God. So like to come closer to him, man, you're going to notice it. And so it's really cool to be back like in this spot. So
it's good, dude. It's powerful. Production guy, you got anything?
I don't know. I would say like the biggest thing for me, especially lately, the last several months, just stepping into stuff. I think I ran a lot from God and like my calling in a lot of ways, and what He was calling me to do because it didn't come in the way that I wanted it to.
How? What do you mean by that?
When I look at my life, I had a plan that I wanted, and that wasn't God's plan for me. And so really having to deal with everything He's brought me is still good and better than what I wanted. And
still using the same skills and gifts that you would have used in the other thing.
Yes.
Yeah, in the other plan. That's pretty cool.
So he's using me now in a way that I never thought He would have. But in like you said, it's the same area of stuff. It's just different, and it's because it's what He wants me to do for the kingdom.
It's good, man. Yeah.
No, that is really good. I like that, dude.
You feel like that's made you like more joyful, or I guess less miserable? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
or whatever word you would use, but
yeah, definitely. I think accepting it has really helped me kind of, joyful. More like
you seem more content lately.
Yes, yeah. I think content's a better word. Even though like I was saying today, like
can't be joyful.
Let's get realistic.
Yeah, come on. No, I don't know. It's weird. I never really consider myself a joyful person.
I get it, dude. I don't either, but people say I am. It's weird, so I'm with you.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just stepping into stuff that I never thought I was going to, and I think really good and bad, letting the weight kind of hit me with those things and what it actually means for who I am and what God's called me to do.
It's good, man. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Same thing. Kind of hearing you put in your own words is interesting. Yeah, I think for me, the big change I would say, and I really noticed it kind of preparing for this and going back and watching a few of our previous episodes, is I was very, pretty angry. Now, I knew myself that I wasn't angry. Like, I knew that wasn't what was in my heart, but that was what was coming out. Like, that's what that guy looked like. Or tired, weary, irritable. And I think, I could go in a long time and talk about how I got there. Burnout, that kind of thing. We've talked about that before. But I think for me, and it wasn't like I was running around raging at everyone, but when I look back at the show, I think I was just in a place. It's weird, man. If I'm completely honest, I didn't tell you guys this before we filmed. This is real. I look at it, and it's almost hard to believe that I was there because I'm embarrassed, and I know me enough to see it. And I was like, man, dude, like, because you don't realize where you're at until you're out of it.
That's so
You know what I mean?
right, dude.
Sort of
100%.
sometimes.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying that like, things are always roses now, but I do think, and it sounds like there's a common theme here. For me, I think it was sort of similar. Man, this is almost whiny. It's hard for me to say, but it's real talk. I struggle, like a lot of you do, and a lot of us probably do, with what's the word? With being able to accept good in me sometimes, or gifts. I have pretty high standards for myself, so I think part of it's that I, if you are a perfectionist, for lack of a better word, sometimes, you're never going to be perfect, so then you're always failing.
You haven't reached it.
And
You haven't reached it.
Yeah, and there's always people willing to remind you of that. And then I think part of it, too, was, just accepting, being confident again and walking in that, because kind of what you said, Blake, for me, when I'm walking in the gifts God's given me and in step with the things, right? I mean, it's not like I wasn't faithful. I think I've been faithful and dutiful, but I think I wasn't allowing myself to rest in that and to be excited again. I kind of got jaded, and I talked about that a lot back in the show, actually, and I think I lived out of that a lot. So, and there's, we may talk more about that as the show goes on. As I get older, I can process why some of that is the way I am.
Yeah.
Which you guys know, some of my past and stuff. And
Yeah, man.
I'm very thankful. I'm very blessed. I love the Lord a lot. I want people to know Him, the real Him. So, yeah, I think what you said earlier too, one of you implied this, but just being thankful for the show even, and how blessed we were to be able to do it for as long as we did. And then letting letting myself get to a place where I wasn't appreciating that.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, I got to hang out with you guys once a week and talk about real things, and we do that, but I don't know. It was cool to invite people in.
It was, man.
To that.
It was different. And so,
Yeah.
I get you. I'm with you on that. And I don't know, man. I love you, dude. And I'm very honored to be a part of, like, anything that you're a part of.
That's ridiculous, but thank
So,
you.
it's true, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at, like, I look at, like, life resumes, and I'm like, this makes no sense that I'm sitting here.
Yeah,
So I'm
dude,
like, that's God, though. It's cool, man. Like, I'm appreciative.
It does, dude, but there's other people that would look at it and go, yeah, it makes complete sense. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm your Mike to you're my Logan.
Oh, my gosh. Well, anyway.
Some hobo.
It's not, he might hear that. I'll still fight you, Logan. I'm just kidding.
Bring it.
Am I?
Maverick.
Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. Took a little longer than normal because we want to catch you guys up. Hey, give us some time to catch our flow again here. We'll have a good time. It's also very late when we're filming this.
It's true.
We made a commitment, though, and
We did.
We're going to stick to it.
I'm excited.
So ask us questions if you want to know more about where we've been the past couple years, or I'm trying to think of anything crazy. Oh, you know what? Let's say some other crazy fun things. We got a bowling league.
Yes.
That happened at the church.
That's true.
Production guy kind of made that happen. Production guy. Who won that league?
Oh man, I want to say so. I
You
think
know who won that league?
I think the team that won it, they went back to back, right?
Did they?
That's right. I think
Yeah,
they went
back to
back-to-back
back.
chips.
Back to back chips.
I know there was a pretty girl in it, but I
Yep.
also think there were 3 guys that were,
Three just handsome, muscular men.
Yeah, man.
or us. It was us.
I
was
heard
us.
like
It-
somewhere down
we-
the
we
line,
did.
like one lost 15 pounds and gained 25 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what's great about it? This is a good story. So I'm going to admit something to all of you. It was our bowling team, okay? We won. Clearly, if you didn't pick up on that. Spared for eternity.
Spared.
Shout out Peyton.
Yes.
Our female member. Now listen, what would you say that I'm known as a competitor?
Oh sure.
Competitive person.
It's in your DNA.
yeah.
It's
Here
who you are.
and yet as I say this, I was the worst bowler on our team all season. And listen, guys, this is not false humility. I truly
No.
you don't have to be that passionate about it. Production guy goes, "No, man, he's not lying. He's not lying." He was the worst. I was, and all season, by the way, they never admitted that. They're like, "Oh man, you're going to turn it around. It's good." Because these 2 guys are really good. Peyton was too. But I want to bring up one little point here. We roll into our last week of the season.
It's true, man. Big week. Playoff week.
And old Toddy B decided, He's still bad.
Absolutely.
First couple games. Why'd you have to say it again so passionately?
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. I thought you meant you were gonna be a bad man.
No, yeah, my
To be
bad. No,
fair,
but to
like
be
you
fair,
meant
I wasn't
bad
good.
man.
However, last game, here's the thing: when you have a handicap, a really high handicap, I knew, and nobody counted. They just counted me out. Going into this last game, it was a must-win. You know,
It was.
So what I decided to do was do a little research online to find 2 quick tips that could take me, and this is going to sound ridiculous to people who are good bowlers, to 120. Because I did a little calculation in the old noggin here that if I could do 120 with my handicap that no one expect coming, we're going to have an incredible chance to win based on everybody else's average.
Oh yeah.
And good golly, those 2 tips I found worked, and I ended up doing a 135, which is not spectacular. Thank you. Completely average, lower than average. But it did come in clutch.
It was.
I just
clutch.
want to say, so in a weird, strange way, my mediocrity ended up helping us achieve greatness. There you go.
Listen, man. You came up clutch. You have the clutch gene in you. You knew you had to have a big game, and you made it happen.
Hey, shout out to the internet.
That's right.
Anyway, so we did that. We last year we played in a softball league, which we did not win for the first time in a long time. Part of that though was we'll leave it be, but we didn't get to play.
That's
It was
that's
a forfeit
correct.
because somebody we knew and loved dearly got married.
Yes.
Oh, Cowboy Kenny.
It was Cowboy Kenny.
You
He
guys,
got
if
married.
you're familiar with him, he got married, so clearly we had to be at the wedding. We brought this up as an option. Would you guys be willing to move the tournament one more week, which we had done for people?
Yep.
And they said no.
Oh, they knew they wanted us out because they were like, we
Yeah.
want to win a championship. So
And they did, so we didn't win that, but we did play. Had flag football league,
yep, that was fun.
which is fun. It's coming back. So we had a lot of crazy cool stuff happen.
Guess yeah, I mean you're right. When you look back on it,
Yeah.
we were doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we had a lot going on. I mean, there's other things I can't think of, but we did them.
Turkey Bowl champs.
Turkey Bowl
Oh,
champs.
that's right.
Yeah.
We did Turkey Bowl. Yep.
Well, you and I were champs.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's I'm
Two-thirds of us.
the runner up.
Yeah, but hey, you got a shirt.
I did. It's a sick shirt too.
So yeah, it was fun. It was cool. We've done a lot of cool things at church that supports the show's growing. So it's been really exciting for us to be a part of that and be able to just love people and
Yes.
community and elsewhere. And excuse me. So yeah, we've had a lot going on.
Building.
Oh yeah,
That's a big
We're completely forgot.
Yep.
So this is something that could affect the show in the next year,
True.
particularly 6 months. So we're renovating our building, particularly the wing that our studio's on.
Yep.
A big project for us, for the church that supports the show. So sorry about coughing in your ear. What I will say is you're definitely, I would say, Lord willing, again, everything's going as planned, and it's in the works. Like, I mean, we're talking to architects, like the funding's there. Well, you know what I mean, financing.
Yeah.
The studio will be different in some capacity, and it could be very, very different.
Yeah, man.
So that's pretty exciting. We got a couple new podcasts coming out.
Dude, I'm genuinely excited
Yeah.
for these.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I'm a part of them. I just love being the.
Well, I don't
part of
know if we'll be a
production
part of the one. I think they don't want us a part of it. I'm not going to say the name of that one because it's his. You know, it's not his, but it's really cool. Cool idea.
He doesn't have a nickname, does? Oh, yes, he does.
Oh, Muscles McGee.
Yep, it's Muscles
Yeah.
McGee.
He so he'll be doing a show. I don't think we're invited, which I don't blame him. But the other one certainly will be part of. Which, you know, do I want to say that? Because
You can drop it. I think it's
dirty theology.
dirty.
We're gonna be talking about the things that are hard to touch in Christendom sometimes, and comparing that with the Bible. We got some cool ideas for that. So stick around, see what happens. If you like this show, maybe you'll like those. Or if you don't like this show, maybe you'll like those.
Loyalist millennia.
That was our other idea.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Which is our other idea that we never did. Anyway,
true.
So now we got a lot of questions to get to here. We're going to try to catch up. I think, honestly, for the most part, we kind of took out some doubles that if we get through these, we're pretty much caught up. And by the way, as I said before, that link is active 24/7, 365 at www.theremnant.life/real-talk.
Boom.
The real on that is REAL. You can ask a question about God, life, the Bible, and we'll do our best to answer. We don't promise to always have the perfect answer, but we will absolutely do our best to take that seriously and hopefully, if nothing else, push you towards finding the right answer.
Yes, sir.
So, are we ready, boys?
Ready, man.
And-
Let's chop it up.
I'll start here.
Voice
AJ.
to man.
Our question is, AJ, how do you move past something when you don't really regret it?
Whew, man, that's well, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, it's pretty cool that you realize like I don't really regret doing this. Nice.
Not that we had.
Yeah, sorry, Blake was just being a smart guy for production. I got excited.
Genuinely.
Yeah, how do you move past something when you don't really regret it? I think that this is, if you've been a fan of the show for a while, if you've listened in the past, one thing we like to talk about a lot is you really have to come to grips with like where you're really at. And it sounds like you kind of have, but I think what I mean by that is like you need to come with the grips that if this is something that's a sin or something that's against God, which I'd imagine it is, if you're talking about moving past something that you like don't regret, that makes me think it could be something that involves sin. I'm not saying it is. That's my first initial thought, but you need to realize the seriousness of that. And I guess you need to ask yourself why you don't regret whatever this thing is. We always talk about this. This is a completely anonymous link. If you're listening to this and this is your question, please feel free to drop in like at least some sort of details so that we can have a better idea what this is. But yeah, if you don't really regret something, again, if it's good, cool. But if it's not, like, why do you not regret it? Especially if it's against God. That's a big deal. So yeah, I think that, when I think of like, say the times, I guess I'll use myself as an example. When I think of the times that I do something and I do it willingly, say like I know myself that I can get really petty in my mind and I can start to treat people slightly differently. And when I do that, there's times where I in the moment, like I can already tell, like I don't really regret doing that. But a lot of the time, the only reason why I feel that way is because I think I'm not going to get caught. People aren't going to notice. And so for me, the big reason, that's why I wouldn't quote unquote regret it. But if someone were to call it out right in my face, I would instantly regret that. So I guess, again, it just kind of depends on detail. At least using my own example there, like the only reason why I would only quote unquote not regret it is because people don't know about it. So I think maybe that's something you can think about in this regard is, do people know about this? Like, is this something that's just to yourself? Because if it's something that like people know and you still don't regret it, man, I guess it all goes back to the heart and what this is about.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, there's some positives here. It seems like, I'm assuming the way it reads, I read it the same way. There's something you need to move on from that you're not regretting doing. Here's the thing. That means you recognize it's wrong, which is still a good sign. And there's some party that wants to do it, and you're wrestling with the fact that, that there's some party that wants to move past it and stop doing it, but you're wrestling with the fact that you still want to.
Yeah.
What I would tell you to do is obedience doesn't have to be a feeling. You don't have to feel. You don't need to feel regret to be repentant and change your ways. Right?
That's good, dude.
You don't have to say, sin can sometimes be in the short term, quote, fun. So sometimes if you're asking, oh my gosh, do I regret that? You might not, but that doesn't mean that you're not recognizing it's wrong and it's harmful to you and you want to change it. So don't get caught up on the feeling.
It's good.
Get caught up on your response to that action.
I love that.
So it's
I
good.
love that, dude.
You're up, my friend.
All right, man. TB, here we go. First question. Back after a year and a month. Question is, are all sins equal?
Are all sins equal? Well, the easiest way to answer this, if you're talking about to God, they're all equal in the sense that any sin separates us from God. So I've heard it said before, and this kind of helps maybe. If I'm trying to jump to the moon, me and Michael Jordan are no closer to the moon in his prime, right? He may jump higher than me, but we're not really closer to the moon. So that's usually for good actions, right? If I'm trying to earn my way, it can kind of show you that there's not really a difference and we need help, right, to get to God.
Exactly.
But I think the analogy still works when you think of, the thing that holds us to the earth, right? The sin in that moment or whatever. It all prevents us from getting to Him, right? Or separates us from Him. So sin is all equal in the eyes of the God in the fact that He hates sin. It says God hates sin, right? Sin is disobedience to God. It's mistrusting God. It's also the actions that come from that. So they all equal. They're not all equal in their effect.
It's good.
And on our lives sometimes, right? They are eternally. So clearly we would say, and that's why we have a law code. Stealing is bad and it affects people negatively, but it's not as bad. Its effects or outcome is not as bad as murder typically, right?
Yep.
So that's why we have harsher punishments for that. So yes, sins are equal in the eyes of God and should be considered equal to a Christian because, God wants us to be holy as he is holy. And thank goodness that it's not based on us because I sin daily.
Yep.
So all sins are equal. In that sense, they're not all equal in the damage they cause, at least in earth. Does that make sense?
That's good. 100%.
Yeah, I
dude.
feel like I got lost there for a minute. Hopefully that helped.
No, that's good.
All right, man, here we go. Why does it seem that life is harder when you follow Jesus?
He said it would be. I think that, it reminds me of when he tells us that the path is narrow, not many find it. And the reason why not many find it is because when you're on that path, a lot of people don't want you to be on that path. Satan doesn't want you to be on that path. People who don't believe don't want you to be on that path.
Yeah, and the majority of people are going the opposite way.
Exactly. So
you're going against the
imagine
current.
you're in a crowd. Like say you're in New York City.
It's a good way to put
and
this.
you're trying to walk south while like 2,000, 3,000 people are walking north. Like you are literally against the grain of all those people trying to push through them. That's kind of how it is. Like when you're a Christian, and Jesus kind of talks about that. He talks about like when the world's gonna hate you because they hated me first. They killed him. So we killed him. So I think a big thing is just keeping that in mind that he that's what I love about Christianity, man. That's what I love about Jesus. And that's why I believe like this is truly the only one true God. It's the one true quote unquote religion. This is the only faith that's real because all these other religions, they talk about like how like, oh, your life's better because it's more peaceful or it's more this, it's more that. And Jesus is like, nah, man, like this is going to be harder. Like you believe in me, like it's the truth, but man, it could kill you.
Yeah. And it's harder. It's harder if you try to, it's harder in the sense that you're not going to be able to live the way you lived.
Yes.
And that we have to crucify the parts of us that want to do evil. Well, the world tells you to do that, right? So the world says if someone hates you, hate him back. If the world says someone's mean to you, mean to him back. Which, by the way, we don't actually believe that in society because we have rules against it.
Truth.
Right? If someone shoots someone and then you shoot that person, you're going to get charged too because we recognize there's something wrong with that. It's going against, I like that you said the people thing, but it's going against the current and like it isn't worse. It's just harder sometimes, but it's better. So it's kind of like, this is another kind of maybe a corny analogy, but if you ever go on a hike and you ever get to the top of the mountain, like, dude, you get to see things that no one else gets to see.
It's good.
But that hike is a little harder sometimes than the person that's not wanting to see that view. And it's not a perfect analogy, but it's the same thing. So there's so many blessings. And you brought up peace, and I know what you meant, but like there is a peace that transcends understanding that, that the world doesn't have. It's real. There is a joy that's above our circumstances. Happiness is sort of dependent on circumstances. Joy is above it. But yeah, man, it's hard. Jesus said, you think I came to bring peace, but I came to bring a sword. And what he meant is that because of me, families will turn against you. Friends will turn against you, all those things. And that's that's some of the hardest parts.
Absolutely.
Because people, you change, you meet Jesus and you become a believer and you change and you are changed. And the people around you, many of them stay the same, and they're not going to understand.
No, man, and that's so good because what brought to my mind just now was like when you put your faith in Jesus, man, like it demands change, it demands transformation, and people like, especially people who don't believe, they don't like that. Mm-hmm. They can't handle that. Mm-hmm. They can't handle that you were this way and now you're completely different, and you're denouncing how you used to.
They
be.
literally can't.
People can't handle that. They hate it, which is why he said they'll hate you.
Yeah.
That's good, man. I love it.
Yeah. I wonder if... Okay.
All right, TB. It says, no idea if y'all are even still around or not, but marriage is hard. We're still here. Thoughts on this video? I know I'm too harsh/rude with my wife. She definitely doesn't feel loved. I don't feel respected. And then it gives us a Facebook video. I will put this video in.
Which means you got to watch it, right? So you have time.
Yes. So yeah, I'm going to time it out here. I know you sent it to me. Is this the first one or the second one?
It's the first one.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of put this up to the mic so that I know for myself.
Okay.
But yeah, here is the video that you will see on the screen now.
The biblical order is the husband is the head of the wife. I know that might rub against feminist mindset. Get over it. It's scripture. However, the way that looks healthily is we're supposed to love our wife as Jesus loved the church and push them higher. That's what the husband's supposed to do in loving the wife and laying his life down for her. But she doesn't respect me. Yeah, well, Peter didn't respect Jesus by denying him 3 times. And you know what he did before Peter denied Jesus? Jesus washed his feet anyway. Hey, husbands, when you feel disrespected, think about how Jesus treated Peter and washed her feet anyway. But she betrayed me in this area. She doesn't trust me. Yeah, well, what did Judas do? Judas betrayed Jesus with 30 pieces of silver. You know what Jesus did before he did that? Jesus washed his feet anyway. Wash her feet anyway. Love her anyway. Speak the word of Jesus over her anyway. Push her up anyway. Husband, you treat your wife like that, she won't have a problem respecting you because she'll know she's loved by you.
You're asking me, right? I got lost.
Yep.
I agree
thoughts on the
with,
video, really, yeah.
I agree with the heart of all that. I think 98% of it, I think, so I agree with that. I think our call is independent of whether, your spouse, your wife, respects you. You're called to love, and those calls are independent. So he's called to love her as Christ loves the church. It doesn't say if she, because Christ loves us when we're not faithful and respectful to him, right? His church, he still loves. And the wife is to submit to the husband, which he didn't even really say, but submit as to the Lord, right? And that's hard to say. And like there is a mutual thing there, right? There's a mutual, it's a natural love and respect. It doesn't mean that the husband doesn't ever submit to the wife in the sense of like take care of her. I like that he used the washing the feet. I think that's good.
Oh, definitely.
So I agree with all that, genuinely. I would say if I had anything that I kind of I'm always on alert for 2 things. I think in Christian culture, that message right there is good and true, and it's needed. Okay, and it is needed. There are a lot of husbands that need to hear that. They do, but it's pretty common and it's pretty safe. I think that there is, and we need to face this. There needs to be just as much emphasis on the wife's role in that too, and maybe he did. We're just seeing a clip, so that's just me picking at it because we never see that. And so what ends up happening for the ladies a lot of times is they're not used to being taught like that. So then when it does come up randomly, they are absolutely like, how dare you? When it's like, no, they're both biblical truths. And maybe he did. Again, I'm not meaning to criticize. And the other thing he said at the end, and I'm sure, dude, I say things all the time that I look back and I'm like, I should have said that better. But he said, do this and she won't have a problem respecting you. And I was like,
It's not necessarily.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to earning, because again, if you do it for that motive to get respect, are you really loving anyway?
No.
You get what I mean? Like that's just me nitpicking. But if I'm doing it, saying, if I do this, she'll respect me.
It's like being the nice guy.
Yeah, if I do it, she'll respect me. Well, one, she's human. When she doesn't respect you, there might be this tendency to say you owe me.
Yep.
That's definitely not what we want.
And then you get real bitter.
Yeah. So, and again, he probably, was at the end, and I think I agree with 98% of it. That would be me nitpicking, but yeah, I agree. So those are my thoughts.
No, I think it's good. And it's funny because the person who sent this in, they kind of talked about, they said I know I'm too harsh / rude with my wife, and said she definitely doesn't feel loved and I don't feel respected. But I think that's kind of what you're talking about though. Like you're kind of expecting that if you were to treat her that way, how that guy explained, you start to expect her to just respect you because of that.
Yeah.
And that might always be the case, but because you're putting so much in that, that's where the problems continue and kind of spin into a cycle.
Yeah, because it could make you love her out of a different motive.
Definitely.
Where agape says, anyway, it's a different thing.
That's good.
But you know what's cool about you that sent this in? You're saying I'm too harsh and rude with my wife, and you went and found this video and saw this and watched it, which means you're focused on your part.
That's cool. I agree.
Which is pretty cool. So good job. Okay, weirdly, we're going into another video here.
Nice.
So, 2 questions in one. Are you going to be regularly releasing a weekly episode, and what day? I loved the last one and was so excited and thought you were coming back, but then radio silence, sad face. Okay, let's start there. Hey, I'm sorry.
Yes, definitely sorry.
And yes, we plan on doing that.
Yes. So, hey, glad
that is a good question, though. This one's going to be out on a Friday, and they used to come out on a Tuesday, right?
Correct. Yep,
that is our goal
Tuesday.
right now, would be a Tuesday, so you may get a double whammy here. You may get this Friday episode and then get the next one on Tuesday, and we'll Tuesdays moving forward.
I love it.
But we'll let you know. That still seems like a day that'd be
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent. So
I think so.
I would count on that. All right. And then the next question. Thoughts? I think I ruminate. How do I stop? And they mean this video.
Yes, and this is a clip from, you might know the guy. His name's Joe Rogan.
I've heard
All
of
right.
him.
Place.
Yeah.
So go ahead and play it, and you'll see it on the screen now.
Almost impossible, right? You don't want the bipolar patient.
Right.
Some people will refuse to see those patients. But a teenager with a little social anxiety, parent pays on time, they're not getting violent in your session.
Oh, boy. Wow. I never really considered that until your book. Until I heard the title of your book and I read the synopsis of it. I never really considered it. I never considered that thinking about your problems all the time and talking about your problems all the time literally make the problems grow.
That's right. I mean, it's the number one symptom of depression is what they call rumination, this pathological obsessing over your pain.
Yeah.
That's why stuff like exercise, that's one of the reasons, aside from chemical reasons, one of the reasons that doing anything, that running errands is good for your mental health, getting out of your house and accomplishing anything
Yeah.
is good for you. But sitting around talking and thinking about your problems, that's a bad habit.
Okay, so yeah, that was the clip. I think it's interesting, especially because this is coming from two people who I think are probably not believers. I think Joe Rogan. I don't think he's a believer, but this lady, I don't know much about her background. But I would say that the idea of rumination is definitely bad. Because it's essentially from correct me if I'm wrong, but they're saying you're so focused and you only talk about the negative things in your life. That's all you care about. That's all you think on, and then it just kind of makes you freeze. I do think that's bad. Coming from a believer, I would say that it's important that we address the things that need to change in our lives, and it's important to address if we're feeling say for the idea of this, question, quote unquote, negative. If we're feeling negative about something, whether that's something that we've done, maybe it's a sin that you need to confess, maybe it is bitterness towards somebody that you need to bring. And I think it's cool though, because the Bible tells us how to overcome that. And what's cool though is that that's all rooted in action, and it's not in rumination, because rumination sounds like it's more just thoughts.
Yeah, it's that thing where you just sit and you trapped in your head thinking about all the bad stuff going on in your life. I definitely ruminate at times.
Me too, absolutely.
Yeah. So I like that you're
And-
saying action in the Bible is what gets you out of that. And I think that's what she was saying too, interestingly, like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you stop? I think that you need to go to Scripture because Scripture is going to tell you how to do it. I think the problem with Christians is, and I'm including myself in this, is we see and we know what to do. We just don't want to do it because it's uncomfortable. We like to ruminate because ruminating is comfortable for us, for those of us that do ruminate. And so we have to interrupt that cycle, which is uncomfortable, and we don't like doing that. So I think it's kind of grass is greener on the other side. Like we have to be willing to believe that, hey, if we do this thing that makes us uncomfortable, it's going to be even better afterwards. We just don't tend to believe that until we do it. So.
Yeah, and I think it's really good because I agree with what she said too, because it's the idea of like, don't be inward focused. Don't be focused on yourself. Focus on other people, other things. And makes sense why I think sometimes for me exercise becomes so important, because now that I think about it, it's that feeling of you don't have time to think about anything other than that.
Yes.
It's another reason sports are so addictive at times.
Definitely.
Because you're not thinking about all those other things,
That's right,
in
man.
life. So that's good.
good
Rumination, yeah, I can do that at times. It's not good.
Oop, about hit the mic. My bad. All right. It says, you guys have mentioned that people think you, quote unquote, don't like Christians. And it says, Todd, I think you've specifically said people have said this. Why do you think they say that?
Probably because I've said it at times, or I think I'm very. I will tell you this. So I didn't grow up in the church. If you're new to this, and it doesn't start where you. It doesn't end where you think. Probably. So, part of my story was when I got saved at this event that my buddy invited me to, so my other friend would go. They gave me a New Testament. I raised my hand, went back and prayed a prayer. They gave me a New Testament that had, I think, Proverbs in it. Or Psalms and a New Testament. And I didn't go to church. I never got that phone, whatever. I just phone call or whatever, you fill out the card. But I did have that book and I read it. And so what happened was I had really high hopes for Christianity, because when I ended up going and kind of getting in a body, I was naive. I almost thought they were going to be the saints, right? Like I knew I was a Christian, but I knew I was messed up and had rough edges. But these people, when I go be a part of it, it was going to be this incredible thing, and it was going to be what this guy said, and everybody was going to be trying to do what this Bible said. And I got hurt and I got disappointed, and a lot of us have. Sometimes by well-intentioned Christians and sometimes by people that aren't well-intentioned. So that's probably why, and I make jokes about it. But one of the things I am critical of, and I stand by this, is popular Christian culture is not healthy. And what I mean by that is your typical kind of shallow sort of like on the, what you're going to see on most social media, or like what you see in your day-to-day once a week Sunday Christian, because it's a social club, is not healthy, and it's dangerous because it promotes an incomplete or false gospel. And I get really mad at people who don't love, right? Jesus said, they will know you're my disciples by your love for one another. And of course we're going to hurt each other at times, but I get really mad at unforgiveness. I get really mad at condemnation, things that Scripture is very clear on. Romans 8:1, there is no condemnation in Christ. And we create a culture in popular Christianity in which we condemn people. We condemn them for the sins they've done,
Truth.
and then the sins they do, right? And we don't look at the Bible as a whole, where it's this journey where we are doing our best to walk with Jesus and live in community and have accountability. But you can't have accountability if you think as soon as I share my mistake or my sin that I'm going to be kicked out. And that's what we do. That's what popular Christianity does. So I think sometimes people pick up on that, and that's wrong. My heart can go to a bad place sometimes with that. And it's not the Christians, because I believe in the church. I love Christians. I am a Christian, but I do have high standards for us. I think we are the light of the world. Jesus told us that we're sitting on a hill, and we're not to put, it says don't hide your light. Jesus said you don't light a lamp and then put a blanket over it pretty much and put it on the ground. You set it high for everyone to see the light. And so I think my motives, my heart are good towards it, but I think sometimes my own hurts can get in the way of that, maybe, in the way I talk about it. So that's probably why. The other reason, if you want me, so that's the reason that's on me. I think the other reason is we push, and we're going to question. And I think sometimes they don't like that. Like some people aren't comfortable with that in Christianity, other Christians sometimes, and then they'll think that we're being hateful or whatever,
Sure, which you're definitely right, man. They don't like getting, poked. And
none of us probably do, but
sure. But I think it just reminds me of people who are in the Bible. It reminds me of John the Baptist, where he goes, "Hey, you brood of vipers!" Like he just like he didn't care, and like he was like, I know these people aren't getting it, and even if it, it means I have to call them that, like I'm going to. And again, the people he was saying that to, they were kind of the at the time, kind of like the church, like that was them. And so like you see it in Scripture, and so for us to it's all repeating itself, which is interesting. And I think that like I guess it's never really changed. But I don't know, man. It just makes me think, like, if you really believe in this, you look at it and okay, like if we're like, man, John the Baptist was amazing. Well, look what he said to people. And it's like, okay, then you got to be willing to.
Paul said to
it's a hard pill to swallow, man. This is a tough faith, So I don't know, man.
Good, man. Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, that's probably it. All right, I think we can do one more here, and then we'll close up and finish, because
we don't want to,
especially if we're going to be giving them another one here in a couple of days.
It's true.
We don't want to get you guys tired of us already.
Yeah, don't want to
Only been a year
oversaturate it with our beautiful faces.
So AJ, question is, what's the hardest part about what you do in Real Talk?
The hardest thing I do in Real Talk? Oh man, I'm trying to think, because everything feels so fresh right now, so it just feels so fun. But so I think back to a couple things. Whenever there's punks out there, especially live, Real Talk Live brought a lot of things. It brought a lot of fun, and then it brought a lot of awkward weirdness sometimes. What I mean by that is like people coming in just being jerks, or even just people coming in just trolling us. I remember there was a guy specifically one time, he said like ridiculous stuff. I don't even, do you remember this guy? Yeah, it was early on, real early on. Like it might have been like within the first 5 times we went live, and this guy was just being a jerk. So like, stuff like that can be hard to deal with, because you're like, okay, like you want to, especially being a Christian show where we try to speak into everybody that takes the time to come in, whether it's, on a podcast, in the comments, or live. We want to provide a place where people know that like we're not afraid to answer like anything. We'll do it, and we want to talk to you because that's what it's about. And it can get hard sometimes, just depending on who decides to pop in. So yeah, that's a hard part. Another hard part is, and we've talked about this in the past, is trying to be a genuine person and not trying to play a character. And what I mean by that is it can be real easy, especially when you do it for a long time like we did, where you can start to just kind of go through the motions even as a show. And you can just say, well, I did this week, I did this, well, I'll give you some kind of like, midway philosophical thing about my life, and then we move on and we answer these questions. And like that's easy to do. And so that's a hard one. That can be easy to slip into, especially when you do it week after week after week. So that's one. I'm trying to think of another one. I think that's probably it.
Yeah, I think kind of goes right along with what you said. We're putting ourselves out there, and that's scary. Whether it's people from our past,
True.
That could be like, hey, I remember when you did this, and it's like, yeah, man,
We got experience in that, so.
Yeah. Or, a few years ago we had a situation, there was kind of a big scandal in another town with this pastor, did some terrible stuff. And, and I made a comment, and all I said was, essentially, we don't know enough about it. The gist of it. And that, I know that God wants to save that person too.
Yep.
And that was probably our first real, at least my experience with it, truly being the big canceled, right? Like coming for your jugular. We tried to reach out to people. We tried to have conversations.
Oh yeah.
And there was nothing but kind of pitchforks and torches, right?
True, man. Yeah.
And that's scary, and it's hard because it makes you, it can make you jaded. And you're like, even though that was truth as far as God wanting to say that, there's people out there, particularly people, again, I hate to say it, that will wrap their hate in Christian paint.
Yes.
And that gets hard. So I think that's hard, man. It's scary sometimes. And also the desire to not ever reflect poorly on the church that supports the show.
Oh, for sure. And it sucks because like cancel culture alone already sucks, but then when it's like Christian cancel culture, it's even worse.
It is worse.
It's way grosser.
Yeah, you're right, because there shouldn't be any cancellation in that. In the church. So
definitely.
There's always a redemption and hope. So anyway, that's it. But hey, good questions. We got more, guys. We're going to catch these up. If you want to continue to ask questions, you can right now. If you had questions about God, life, the Bible, you can do that right now in this moment. You mean right now at whatever time you're watching this? Yeah, www.theremnant.life/real-talk. As I said, go all the way to the bottom of the page. There'll be a form fillable box. That's you typing. Type your question, comment. It goes into our database literally instantaneously and anonymously. People ask us all the time. We truly, because we've tried it. There's been jerks.
Oh yeah, people have made us mad.
Yeah, you want to find them. You can't. We made sure, our tech guy, the master tech guy that we had that created this, there's no way for us to find that number or anything to get a hold of you or know who you are. And then we will answer those questions. So, we would love to see some more questions, get this thing rolling again. You have anything else you want to say, man?
It's so good to be back, man. I'm excited. Like this flu. I can't believe it's been how long it's already been. It kind of makes me excited because I'm like, maybe it felt weird at first, but like I'm already back in the swing of things. I feel like, and like for it to be like an hour in already, almost like that's so cool. It went by like in a blink. So I'm just excited, man. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us and supporting us, especially the ones that we mentioned earlier for a whole year.
Yeah,
might as well be 2 years. And you guys just kept sticking with us, waiting for us to come back. So thank you so much for sticking around. Share this, especially for those of you who've been waiting. Share this with as many people as you can, man. Let people know that the crew's back. The boys are back in town. And share this with somebody that you think needs to hear it. Especially, encourage somebody to ask us something. I think that's big too. One thing that, we don't talk about a lot is that, and this is very humbling, but it's like, this has really helped people in their lives. This show has, and that's kind of the point of why we did it. And, it's literally brought people from different states to this church. Like a podcast brought someone from Louisiana to this church here in Indiana. That's crazy. It's had people come and check out our baptism service and get baptized. And now they're here to this day, and they're a profound follower of Christ now. Like it's pretty cool, man. So if you think this could change somebody, or this could give them a chance to ask a question that they've been wanting to ask, send it to them and let them know to encourage them to do that.
Yeah, one of the things we haven't gotten to today, if you are new, is we take a lot of biblical questions too.
Yes.
So maybe you don't understand something in 1 Corinthians or Romans or the Gospels. Like
Yes.
that's really, a lot of this is built around that. It's not just, we absolutely will give you our opinion on things, but we want to help you process the Bible too. And I know that can be intimidating for some people. So don't be afraid to shoot those biblical questions in. We have some here that you'll see next time as we go through the rest of them. But I want to say that. Production guy, you got anything, buddy? We're going to be hearing from you more.
Hey, we missed you guys as much as you missed us.
Oh, yes.
We're happy to be back.
Yeah, which we hope is a lot, because that's how much we miss you. Production guy, thank you so much, dude. Love you. Very thankful. AJ,
Hey.
appreciate you, dude. Everyone else, we love you. Appreciate you so much. Like you said, like, share, comment, all that kind of stuff. We are going to be on every platform, really. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, which, by the way, we're really getting traction on that before we left.
It's true.
So if you're a Rumbler, hi. What'd I say? Facebook, YouTube?
Spotify, Rumble,
Yeah, all
any
of
other
them.
big.
Yeah, just go type in the Real Talk web series. That's what you have to type in.
Bang.
So, yeah, that's it. We can't wait to see you guys again, to talk to you again, interact with you again. Be on the lookout for our live show, and yeah, it's coming. We hope to see you soon. So, hey, have a great day, and God bless you.